super excited today. Actually, I've been actually waiting to for this day for a while. It's nice to actually have the non-sport analyst, right? You're the non-sport analyst,
Yes.
and you cover all things of wrestling, MMA, and figures,
Yep.
correct? Matt
Gaming.
Bible, right? Matt Bible here.
Yes. Good to
uh,
be here.
so you are the editor, I believe, on not only the 2019 edition, but also the
Yes.
2020 edition.
Yep. And
Uh,
coming soon, the 2021 edition.
that's one of the things I want to
Here
ask
in a
you. You're
couple
going
of
to be doing a
months.
2021, right?
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
what can we see different in 2021 edition that you haven't done yet in the previous two?
I'm not exactly sure yet. I have a few ideas. One of the ideas that I've been kicking around since last year is possibly throwing in a graded price guide for certain key sets throughout wrestling history. The 85 tops, the PWE A and B sets. Trying to think here, racking my brain. Maybe some of the more modern sets as far as like the WCW autographs, because I know some of those graded cards are
That whole,
through the roof.
all three of those sets with all the autographs have got is skyrocketed in price.
Yep. Yep. I just repriced Macho Man recently. He's currently going for in the 5 to 1,000 range, $500 to 1,000 for
That seems
Macho.
about
He's the
right.
highest one. Yep.
Is he the highest?
So yes,
Even more
Macho
than
Man's the highest.
even more than Eddie or
Yep.
Benoit or even Hogan?
The sales that I've found recently, that's the range that he's going for. But
Wow.
it can be unpredictable at times. They go up, they go down. You gotta keep track of that sometimes. But Macho is really popular right now for some reason.
So then that leads me like, I mean, because you have an online price guide as well, correct?
Yes.
How often does that get updated?
As you know, it can be really tedious at times because I do so many different categories and there's so many sets between all of them. I mean, at this point in the non-sport database, we're creeping up on 38,000 sets total. And then wrestling, I want to say it's in between all the different products, and over the years, I think it's in the 5,000 range maybe for wrestling. And then you got MMA. I've got all the gaming properties: Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Dragon Ball, Super. Now this new Flesh and Blood, which is going through the roof. I do Funko. I do all the action figures, the wrestling, Star Wars. I mean, I get to it as often as I can. I try to pay attention as much as I can to trends. If I see something trending, like the Rock autographs are, he's upwards of $1,000 now, just because that's his only wrestling autograph that he has in a trading card.
Correct.
Everything
98
else,
comic images, yeah.
Yep, everything else is a movie. The
Yep.
Mummy Returns, The Scorpion King, Doom. So, and those still sell for a lot.
Yep.
It really just depends on, whether I feel like sleeping or not.
I kicked myself in the ass for not keeping that Mummy Returns autograph, man. I got mine from Alan Kaplan I did a deal with him at San Diego Comic-Con one year, and I took one off of him. And but I kept it for a little bit, and then someone offered me at the time I thought was a good amount of money for it, because I doubled my value out of it. And then, but now they're going for like crazy money.
Well, funny story. I actually had the duo cards, and the way I got it was crazy. I had just graduated school. I just got out of college back in 2011, so I started getting back into just buying packs. And I went to Walmart and I got one of those packages, those $25 multi boxes where they throw miscellaneous packs and stuff inside.
Yep.
And that was one of the packs that was in there. And I opened it up and there was a Rock autograph inside of it.
Now, did you actually was it actually in the pack?
Yes.
That's very unusual, because my understanding was, with my relationship with Comic Images, that there was no autographs put in there. They were all done by redemption.
It was in the pack, and I sold it for $200. I got on eBay, and at the time I sold it for $200.
That's incredible.
And I was just like, I'll sell it and get a little bit of money, because at the time I wasn't working at Beckett yet, and I was starving. So I was like, $200 sounds good to me. So I sold it, and now I'm kicking myself. I have, as I'm sure you have, 1,000 stories like that.
Yeah.
You sell something.
I think I still have one somewhere in storage. I recently just moved all my stuff from California here to Arizona, so it's been sitting in storage now since August. But I went from a 10 by 30 to a 10 by 20 to a 10 by 10 now and a 10 by 5, and it's just all crammed in there. I'm trying to,
Yep,
and
yep.
I get easily overwhelmed. There's, my friends know that I get easily overwhelmed when I'm going through that. Something go, oh, I can sell this, I can sell that, I can sell, and it's because it's a lot of different things in there. I mean, I inherited a comic book store years ago from Rob Van Dam a long time ago,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I've been kind of going through that stuff over the years, and it just kind of like things I find I didn't even realize I had. I think my cards are breeding or something because I just like I don't remember buying that.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so do you get suggestions from collectors about pricing, or is it just you who does the pricing?
I do the pricing. I mean, I get suggestions all the time about what to put in the magazine, how to do this, how to do that. And I'm very open about that. I get on non-sport updates card talk all the time, and I ask, what do you guys want to see? What would you like to see in non-sport update? What would you like to see here? And what can we do to improve? I'm always about constructive criticism, because if I didn't have that, I mean, not that I wouldn't have a direction to go, but it helps when I can hear from collectors and get their viewpoints and their ideas of where they think the hobby's headed and what we can do to make it better through publications and through the website.
I mean, the almanacs here, which I never even got the 2019. I just picked these both up a few months ago. Um, I didn't even know it was out, to be honest with you. But I went through it and I just finally opened them not too long ago. I was like, it's a very comprehensive listing of a lot of stuff, especially for collectors who may not be familiar with a lot of different cards, stuff like that.
Yes.
Where do you pull all of your resources and information from on all this stuff?
Well, luckily for me, when I first started at Beckett, um, probably about 95% of that stuff was already in there. It just required a lot of nuance, and it required a lot of editing, corrections. I add a lot of the prefixes and suffixes, like labels, like on stuff like if a wrestling um, card is like an all-star, I'll put AS next to the name of the player, like they do with the baseball and the football stuff, just to kind of give collector an idea of what subsets are in there. And if when I get time, I add that to the header so they know that range. They can look and see where those subset cards are. But like I said, before I did this first one, I wanted to have visual confirmation of every single card. So it was a lot of just research, going to eBay, searching images. If I can find an image for this and find an image for that. Wrestling trading cards helped a little bit with that, just being able to have that visual image of a card, so I know, okay, this is the card, this is what it looks like, and this is the exact description. And I had to go through and do a lot of changes in that regard, because one of the things that, and not necessarily picking on Tops or anything, Leaf does it too, but you'll go in, they'll send you a checklist of the description, and you'll find out later that's not the description.
Oh, it's
It was just a
always been that way, even with when Fleer was doing
working
it.
description, and you have to go back in and you have to change it. But it's not that big a deal, but you have to be very cognizant of that going on, because that can affect whether or not your market gathering team can find prices for that stuff. If they're not finding it, then you might have a problem with the description or something of that nature.
That's always been an issue though too. I mean, Fleer had that issue too all the time, where they would put out a checklist for something, and I put it on a card too. You get it on a nice little card, but and then the actual product was somewhat different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they would advertise like that Championship Clash release in '02. They're supposed to redemption card for a belt that they never had. So
Yeah. Yeah, that it's just I guess just like with how we do things, I guess for the card companies, it can be a moment to moment or day to day process as well. So it's a matter of just working together and trying to little give and take there.
is that would you find that to be the most challenging thing in putting something like this together, is finding that data then? Is it the most challenging thing about putting this? Basically, it's like it's a Bible of wrestling cards. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's getting up there. It's challenging, but I think the thing that's the most challenging for me is just getting the most accurate pricing I can possibly find, as well as trying to find a way to regularly update, which can be difficult a lot. That's probably the most challenging, is just regularly updating essentially millions of cards between all
Yes.
the different sports. It's just, especially with the gaming keeps me on my toes, just because gaming is almost like the stock market. Those prices change every day. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. I don't
Well,
have to worry about that with wrestling or non-sports as much as I do gaming.
Well, since you brought up gaming, I actually want to talk about that a little bit. You do include in the guide, you include the old WCW Nitro and its one-off expansion pack from the gaming in the set, but you don't list
Yes.
any raw deal, WWE raw deal, which was around for 7 years.
Yes, that's a work in progress. I'm trying to get actual updated pricing, which is really difficult to find. If anything, I might just put the checklists in, just so that they're in there for reference. But
Well, if you
getting the
need help,
updated
if you need help with that, I'm the guy to do that. I'm actually the owner of Vela Cards, which is the largest database of all raw deal cards on the planet.
awesome. Well, that you know,
And
that'll
I
work.
just did a price change in all my stuff just before the new year.
Fantastic.
Because the market it is affected the same way as other gamings, and all collectibles are being affected right now since COVID hit.
Yeah.
And raw deal is no different. I mean, I've had cards in there that used to sell for, $30, $40 now. People are asking 100, 125 for them, which
Woo.
of course it's not a huge dollar amount when you're comparing this to Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic, of course, but for
Yeah, yeah.
percentage wise, that is a huge markup since, a year ago. An Eddie Guerrero signature card, which if you had one and lucky to get one, it was, around $300, now sells for 1,000.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
the market is just crazy. So yeah, I was curious why you didn't have any raw deal in there. So
Yeah, there's still a lot of things that I'm sure I'm missing, especially, you know, the action figure section can be tedious as well, just finding all the different variants and the things that they've done. But there's still things I need to add into it, and other things that I'm planning on. And one of the other things that I'm going to try and do, it may not happen this year, but probably next year, is finding cards of wrestlers in other sports and non-sport sets and getting them put in here. So like Dave Bautista and Guardians of the Galaxy, any of the wrestlers that were in like Pop Century or Americana or anything like that, get those put in there. Obviously, Sasha Banks being in The Mandalorian, she has a couple of cards from the Topps Now set. So things like that, wrestlers that have appeared in movies or TV or other media,
what about other
trying to get a
sports?
combination.
Like
Yeah,
even get
other
like
sports.
Brock Lesnar on the Minnesota Vikings, or Bradshaw from his CFL cards like that, Darren Drozd, stuff like that.
Yes, yes. I was gonna say like CM Punk in the MMA, but I already have the MMA bonus section. We do that every year. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, there's just, you have to constantly try and find ways to reinvent the book and come up with new material that people may not be familiar with. We just started doing that in like the non-sport almanac this year. We put a non-sports in sports. So we took like the Topps Allen and Ginter and Goodwin Champions and put a lot of those sets in a special section in the back, so that people could see some of the cool non-sports stuff that is in those sets.
I forget. Beckett did buy non-sport, didn't they? They bought non-sport update.
Yes. We've owned non-sport update since 2016.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. They used to put a little bit of wrestling in their guides. Usually it was at the time, I think it was like, they put like the championship marketing in there. It's like that. They put a couple things, but they weren't putting any Fleer product in there at the time, even though that was like the hot thing for a few years.
Yeah. I still have some of those old price guides, and I've noticed they're at the tail end of the magazine. They've got some of the WWE sets in there.
I have I think I have one or two copies laying around because they did an article on us back then. That's all I have. But what finally prompted Beckett to finally get around to making an almanac for wrestling cards? Because in the past, I used to find some wrestling prices in like maybe their baseball issue, or sometimes in their football issue, you'd find them in there.
Yeah. They've always had, since I've been there, they've always had wrestling in the Beckett Sports Card Monthly. We used to have gaming and non-sports, and we got MMA and tennis and multi-sport and golf. Now we just have the wrestling, MMA, and the golf section, since golf is making a comeback with Upper Deck. I think they've got two releases.
Funny you put golf in there with wrestling and MMA.
Well, hey, Barry Darsow. I mean, come on.
Okay, well, that's true.
There you go. Put him on the PGA Tour.
There you go.
No, but it was an idea that I had the first month that I I got here, got to the office, I was like, the two things that I wanted to do more than anything were wrestling and Star Wars. And I've been able to get those done since I've been here. But I told them, I was like, you guys are crazy if you don't do a wrestling almanac with trading cards, action figures, and maybe throw bonus sections of some type in there. It'll sell. And, you know, for years they were reluctant to do it just because, you know, costs and budget, and it was just really going to be worth it. And that first issue, we ended up doing 5 printings.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
We just kept selling out, and
I gotta check to see what printing it is. I didn't even notice that. It says first printing.
It says first printing.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, it was a major success, and you know,
First printing, awesome.
You know, they realized, hey, maybe we got something that we can do.
Well, and the timing couldn't have been better, because I mean, as you know, all hobbies are going up in value, but you know, wrestling is no exception. And when you have Hogan cards selling for $36,000, and you know, Rock cards selling for, you know, almost close to 10 grand on some of these things, depending on what it is, it's incredible. So
yeah, The Rock, that'll probably be one of the things I put most recently. It was his, I want to say it was his Miami Hurricanes, the Bumblebee Tuna. The perforated card was a PSA Gem Mint 10. I can't remember what the exact price of. I think it was 13,000.
somewhere around that range, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be something I would throw in there, because it's I mean, The Rock is like, I'm shocked that he hasn't had a set of tequila cards yet. With his
I mean, he transcends everything, though. I mean, Hulk Hogan is a household name, but I think The Rock is also a household name with most people too. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 200 million followers on Instagram, so he's very popular.
He's kind of known. Yeah, people kind of know who he is.
Just a bit.
I noticed a difference in the 2019, 2020. In the 2019, you had a limited section of your top 10s, and you you expand that in the 2020. You took the top 10 of all wrestlers and made it into a top 20.
Yes.
And poor Andre, he got bumped out of the top 10, went to number 11.
Yeah. But I think Macho was number 10 at that point.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. It was Macho. And that's one of those things where I try to go on social media. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of what they've done in the industry. It's a combination as well as how they're known in pop culture, how they've affected the business, what else they've done. But I went on Card Talk, and I got input from people on Card Talk and other various sources on social media just to see and try to get that information. And it's not an easy task. It's difficult to make these lists at any time, because not everybody's going to agree with that list. And we put that disclaimer as this is just a list for fun. You know, it's just up for debate. So, you know, just enjoy it. But I'm trying to think what that first year we did. I want to say we did the top 10 wrestlers, the top 10 women.
Yeah, we got top 10 wrestlers, top all-time managers. Then we had top 10 women wrestlers, and then the top all-time tag teams. Oh, and then you had action figures top 10, autograph cards top 10, and card sets top 10.
Yeah, and I think we expanded even the card lists for 2020 this year. This year. I'm not sure how different that'll be this year. I thought
they're pretty identical for them all. I mean, the only thing I said, you expand the women wrestlers to top 20 and all-time wrestlers to top 20. Everything else was still top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wrestlers, yeah. But are you going to add any new little characters in there for top 10, top 20, or?
I mean, you know, there's ideas floating around all the time. Maybe, you know, if you can find cards that represent the top 10 wrestling moves of all time, finishers of all time, or top 10 gimmicks, or top 10 catchphrases. There's all kinds of things we could probably do. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to add. I mean, there is limitations that I can do. I have to pick the most prominent for something like that. But, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll be able to throw another couple of hot lists in there this year.
I have another thing I wanted to bring up too about the book. So it's a little, what is the decision? Is that the typical way that Beckett does their listings? Is year first, then name?
It's typically alphabetical. And then we try to, it's usually, it goes alphabetically and then
chronologically.
Yeah. But that's for like the almanacs, and that's usually always a work in progress. You always have to, sometimes when you're going through the sort order and you're going through 5,000 sets, you're going to miss stuff and it's going to get printed out of whack sometimes. So that's something I'm constantly going over to make sure, have I gotten this right? Did I put this in the correct order? Is this in, where it needs to be? So that's another one of those tedious little processes that you have to go over when you're doing these print publications.
You archive a lot of stuff in here. I mean, it's really impressive the amount of sets that are in here, especially for modern stuff, because there's so much stuff. I mean, Topps is just dumping out so much crap every year. It's just amazing. I don't know how people keep up.
Yeah, I just saw the this month in history. That's the new Topps Now set. This month in history, they just had the new 3 cards released. I think Trish has got one in there.
I think Evolution had one.
Yes. I'm trying to think who else was in that. Who else was in that this bundle that just came out. But that's going to be an ongoing thing. And of course, that's what Topps does that with all their properties. We've got that with the Garbage Pail Kids with Bizarre Holidays. We've got Wacky Packages. I'm trying to think what the name of that set is. I can't right offhand, but they do that every month, and they have different wacky package sets they come out with. So just all kinds of interesting little concepts they come up with, and then of course they do the regular Topps Now set.
I was going to ask you about that. That's not in the guide.
Oh, Topps Now is not in the guide?
I don't think so.
Let me double check here to make sure.
I try to look both by alphabetical order.
Let's see, Topps Now. It's probably under Topps Now WWE instead of Topps WWE Now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there it is. I found it. It's on page starts on page 77.
Yeah, I'm right there now. Yep, I see it.
And of course, it changes by year. The Topps, I think, stopped the numerical sequence in 18, and they started a fresh one for every year now from 19.
Yeah, we have a regular guy who's been keeping tabs on that since its inception and keeping the run numbers and like that. Good old Chuckster. He is all over that stuff, so he knows exactly the years and how 2016 actually breeds into 2018 and 2000. I mean, he knows all that stuff. So when we get the checklist going again, he's going to be our go-to guy for all that stuff. That and the indie stuff. So speaking of, are you guys going to be tackling the indie stuff? There's a lot of indie releases out there, lots of them. And how do you differentiate what's legit and what's not?
That's a good question. Usually I follow grading's lead on that because we get a lot of requests for grading, and it's just really a case by case basis. If it's not something that we can determine whether or not they had the wrestler's permission, like I think we talked about the Joey Janela set. I'm pretty sure he puts that out himself, right? So, I'm sure he has the wrestler's permissions to do what he needs to do with that. We came to that conclusion with the grading because we were getting the Orange Cassidys and the Jungle Boys and the MJFs that were coming in. So we made a decision to do that. And sometimes it can just be really difficult to determine. There's just a lot of variables that go into it, whether it's licensed through some type of independent wrestling league. Let's say if it was something, I don't know, let's say when Lucha Underground was around, let's say they came up with a set and they had, just a limited set of 10 wrestlers. If it was sponsored by them, if they had, the copyright information, then we would.
Because you do have the All In at the 2018 All In set in here.
Yes, that was, we got, when that came out and the rumblings of AEW were starting, we were like, we gotta grade this because we gotta put this in the system. And because
my understanding is that was actually produced in-house by Ring of Honor, I think, did that.
Yeah.
In-house.
Yes. And we got a lot of grading requests for that set.
What happens when you start getting something like this, a GCW set or the old PWG set that came out that kind of really sparked all these independent cards that came out? How do you guys tackle that? Same thing.
I mean, we just it's a case by case basis. Usually what happens is, and sometimes I don't even know about some of these cards.
Oh, it's hard to keep track.
There are gaming sets that come out that I don't even know about that are I didn't know about Flesh and Blood until our one gaming guy that works in grading, who used to be our gaming analyst for a while. He said, Matt, you got to put this in the system because there's a card that's you can get one every 2 cases and it's currently selling for 10 grand. I'm like, okay,
Wow.
well, yeah, we got to put this
We
in.
got to put it in there.
Flesh and Blood. That is a set that is quickly replacing Magic as in popularity. People are flocking to Flesh and Blood. It's only been out for a couple of years now. But anyway, but it's really just a case by case basis. We look at all the variables. Is this licensed? If it's not licensed, does it look like it's professionally made? I mean,
Yeah, but we live in a world now where technology allows people to go and just kind of print cards. I mean, we have online services where you can print a card. I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, I had the rights to my own, like that. And this company, these are beautiful the way they did these cards. But it's just technology allows us to kind of just make our own stuff. And my understanding, I actually had the guy who did the PWG cards on an interview once, super nice guy, and he made them and gave them away for free. He just gave them away for free, and now they're all over. And they go for mad money right now because almost all those guys are in AEW or WWE.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some stuff that you obviously know. Like I think of one example I can think of is Ray Gun cards. I don't know if you ever heard of Ray Gun cards. He makes he's on Instagram. He makes like these custom tribute cards to like movies. Like he's got a pack of Jaws and a pack of Back to the Future. I don't know how he does it, how he gets away with doing that, but I'm guessing it's just because they're custom and maybe it falls under artwork, possibly.
Depends on the images. Depends on the images you're using though, because I've had my own history when it comes to raw deal stuff and the virtual stuff they make, because the game's been out of print since 07, but they've made these virtual cards since 08 until now. So, I mean, I've had a little bit of run-ins with that with C&Ds and things like that. So I'm just curious how these guys can use images that came off of Google to make on a trading card, and I guess they just haven't been caught yet. I guess that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm hoping he never gets caught, at least until I can pick up some of those. Some of them are pretty good. I'm a big Jaws fan, and he's got like Back to the Future and Jurassic Park and things like that. So, but it's challenging. It's really, I almost feel like a legal clerk sometimes as opposed to a card analyst. What can we legally get away with, or what can we legally grade or put in the price guide? But so
collectors are sending you some of these obscure card sets that you can't validate anywhere, right? What do you do with them?
Yes. We just send them back. If we can't grade them, one example I can think of happened a few years ago was, I'm trying to think, I can't think of the company right offhand, but there was somebody who was making a Harryhausen tribute set for all the films that he made back in the 60s and 70s, like Flash Titan stuff. And they had already made the sketch cards. Well, somehow the license fell through and they ended up going to court over it. We got a few of those sketch cards in. We couldn't grade them because we didn't want to risk having our name attached to that lawsuit, and then having his estate sue us because we graded those cards. So since it wasn't an official card set and they never gave permission to have those images on those cards.
What happens on, say, a card that someone home makes using with their whatever image they want, whether it be intellectual property of somebody else, a WWE or something like that, but they go out and they get the card made, they have the talent sign it, and they're sending it in, do you have authenticated just the autograph?
That's a good question, because I think we will do like, I'm pretty sure we do like individual sketch artist cards. Like if, let's say somebody like one of the Glee brothers or Jason Crosby or somebody does an individual sketch card, and it's their brand, and somebody sends that in to get, then we will just like manually put that into the system. We don't necessarily put it into our actual official database.
Gotcha.
So they do exceptions like that. That's usually something they determine, I think. Is they'll if it's got an autograph, say Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man or something, they'll give it to BAS, they'll authenticate the signature, and then they'll slab it.
So you'll slab it without a grading on it, basically.
Yeah, basically, as authentic.
It's authentic. Got it. So yeah. One thing I noticed in the books like that, it's very comprehensive. There's a lot of great sets in here that I think a lot of collectors don't even realize exist. But two, though, there's a lot of sets in there that don't have pricing.
Yes. That's something that's still, it's a work in progress sometimes. Sometimes with the sets that aren't priced, it's usually a matter of there aren't enough cards. Like they're serial numbered as low as, obviously the one of ones we don't price just because that's one card. I will do my very best to find pricing for as low as serial number to 10. And I have a couple of sets in there that I've been able to price that have priced that low. And that's simply because I've been able to find anywhere from 30 to 40% of the market, right? But most of the times, if they're serial number to 10, we don't usually price them. Sometimes even if they're serial number to 25, we don't price them.
But what about stuff like, you got the 91 championship marketing, the promos, they're listed, but there's no price.
There's no price for those.
Yeah.
It may have been something that just fell through the cracks. Sometimes I just don't get to everything as far as getting a price. And it sounds ludicrous that I don't have something that's that old priced, but it just happens sometimes. It's not limited to wrestling.
I mean, I see a lot of like the older stuff. I like, oh, okay, it's going to be pretty hard to find, information probably on a 1953 card sets, where we have a checklist, basically everything that exists in it, but there's no pricing for the 1953, but but even still, even there's no prices, it's still like, wow, I didn't even know a set existed from 1953 or something like that for some collectors.
Yeah. And wrestling, most of the wrestling stuff has just come on the last 25 years for the most part. I mean, I'd say most of it is the last 20 years. Just from all the top sets and Tops probably makes up, I'd say, at least half the trading card, the total trading cards that have ever existed for wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, for total, like in history. Yeah. But in the last 20 years, it's like 90%.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So you are a graduate of Ohio State University.
Yes, I am. Unfortunately for me last night, but it's tough to overcome all of your key players being injured and Alabama playing perfect football. So those two combinations they'll do you in every time. But.
Well, I mean, I didn't even want to bring that up, but my question is,
you know what?
Go ahead.
We beat Clemson. Beating Clemson was good enough for me for the most part. I figured Alabama might stand a chance of beating us, but getting back at Clemson after last year's debacle, that was like a second Christmas this year.
Second Christmas.
Yeah. So
being a graduate of Ohio State, I understand you collect a lot of rookie cards, everything from your alumni.
Yes, I have. Here recently, in recent years, it's been difficult collecting just because I'm so busy. But before that, I had roughly about 80% of everything. Every rookie card, every first card of every alumni that's ever come through. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, women, even the WNBA people.
You have any wrestlers come out of there?
Not yet, but I all these years I've been waiting for Laurinaitis to declare, hey, I'm gonna join wrestling school. But I figured he would follow his dad's footsteps, but so far it hasn't happened yet.
You have any particular favorites of yours from that you collect?
Eddie George. Eddie George is one of them. Probably, I would have to say. In recent years, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, you can't go wrong with him. He's a pretty good player. Bobby Hoying, Craig Krenzel, guys like that. So yeah, I'm a big hockey fan though too. So having like Ryan Kessler, his rookie cards are probably some of the most sought after Ohio State alumni rookies.
Really?
They're very hard to come by. The Pacific Titanium Hobby numbered to 99. Just getting it. Usually back when I got it, this has been like 8 years ago, it was already gone for 3 or 4 times what the market value was. And then getting it graded. I happened to get one and I got it graded and it graded a 9.5 gem mint. So I'm set with that one.
You're set. You're like, I'm good.
Hockey, basketball, football, baseball, and any oddball stuff, golf. If I can find a first card or a technical rookie card of an Ohio State alumni, I pick it up.
Doesn't matter what sport it is, you just go pick it up, huh?
No, I got even like UFC, like Kevin Randleman, who went to Ohio State, and Mark Coleman, who went to Ohio State. So, I pick up their first UFC cards, just to kind of have, it's just kind of my own interesting way of collecting, Ohio State guys
How long you been
and
collecting?
gals.
And gals. How long you been collecting?
Let's see.
I mean, even as a kid, did you collect as a kid?
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't that serious as a kid. I was in my own little world then. But I'd pick up packs of Star Wars cards and occasion, and the wrestling and the sports didn't start until a little bit later. But I was more about the action figures as a kid, getting the Star Wars action figures and things like that. That was my go-to.
Boy, I wish I still had all mine. I used to buy them as a kid too, but wish I still had all mine. Do you remember your first wrestling card that you ever got?
Oh, man. That's a good question. I would say probably, I want to say the 87 set back in 87. That's when I started really getting into a lot more hardcore. I was into it, but it was just kind of a casual thing for the first few years of Hulkamania, and then 87 hit around, and it was like, oh, hey, we started watching Saturday Night Main Event regularly, and following the Macho Man's turn from heel to a face, and the Mega Powers unite. It was just open to the floodgates, and WrestleMania was becoming a much bigger spectacle at that point, and having it at Trump Plaza, and it was 4 hours long, and they had a big tournament, and so I got into wrestling really hardcore, and then as I got older, graduated high school, I started finding other interests. I'm still into it, not as much. And then the NWO hit, and that was it. It was like, oh my God. I was like, they really, really are onto something with turning Hogan heel. And then that led to the Attitude Era and just made wrestling almost godlike in pop culture.
Oh yeah, it was everywhere. TV guides, the cover, everything. It was everywhere.
Everybody.
I mean, and the marketing was incredible. I have somewhere in here, I have like WCW air fresheners and
Yeah.
I was just showing the other night. I just got it somewhere right here. I have an old WCW a credit card with the Nitro Girls on it and stuff. I mean, I had everything, all that stuff. I mean,
everybody wanted a piece of wrestling. Jay
exactly.
Leno, Dennis Rodman, everybody.
Everybody did. All-time favorite?
All-time favorite? Oh, man. Gosh, I honestly, Stone Cold Steve Austin's is as far as a character, that's probably my favorite character. All-time favorite wrestler, just enjoy watching them wrestle, and Ric Flair. Ric Flair's just, he's probably the best seller in the history of the industry. He sells it so well, whether he's a heel or whether he's a face. It's just, I like watching him better as a heel because he, oh please, he begs for mercy, and he makes everybody around him better. Sting, Hogan, whoever he wrestles.
Guy, I mean, he wrestled a jacket for crying out loud, and the jacket looked good.
Oh my goodness, man!
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So when can we expect a 2021 edition to come out?
It goes to print at the end of February, and they usually come out about 2 weeks before Mania, so toward the end of March.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what the exact date is. I haven't checked the schedule yet, but it'll be released in about a couple weeks.
How come? Any thoughts? Remember, NSU used to do it all the time, where they put little promos in there. Any chance putting promos inside of it? Maybe.
You know what? Hey, if we could get a license or something, I'd like to reach out to AEW and see what we could do about getting some type of a promo from them, getting permission to use a license to make a promo card, because I know Tony Khan's a huge wrestling fan. So,
of course, yes. Oh, I've reached out to him multiple times. I'd love to talk to him because, I mean, when he made the announcement that AEW was indeed going to be making trading cards in 2021, and then, everybody was speculating who could it be. And then we saw that backstage picture of, the Young Bucks signing on stickers, and someone zoomed in, you see the Upper Deck logo on it. So like, oh, Upper Deck must have got the license. Nothing's been officially announced. So we're kind of wondering.
And well, it makes me wonder if it's for an AEW product or could it be for something for Goodwin Champions?
Yeah, that's a good
You know?
question. That's a good point too.
Yeah, but if it's Goodwin Champions, I'll throw it in when I get the the miscellaneous section. But I would prefer an AEW. So I know that those cards would go for a lot of money right out the gate, especially if they got a lot of the talent to sign autographs.
I just did an episode with someone, we're discussing that, and I'm at the one, I don't want them to blow their wad on the first release of everybody being signed.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, no, what they could do is they could maybe like do a give it the series treatment, a series 1 and series 2, or
Yes.
an update set or something you can exclusively get just through EPACs if Upper Deck does an EPAC program with AEW. These are EPAC exclusive autographs. If you redeem this many cards, you get this autograph, and it's only available through EPAC.
Yeah.
You could do that with, like, I don't know, Jungle Boy or MJF or somebody like that. But there's a lot of those wrestlers that don't have official cards through their promotion. Like, no, Britt Baker was in the recent Leaf product with autographs, but I want to see Britt Baker DDS with the AEW logo,
Correct,
in the ring or doing a promo. That's what I want to see. I want to see all those wrestlers on their own cards with the AEW logo on there.
yeah. I mean, it's the product that everybody who's in the wrestling trading card hobby is waiting for. So we've got people who are like, listen, I can't keep up with top stuff every year. They're using the same images, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And they put out, like, Finest and Chrome are beautiful sets. Love those cards. Those are,
Oh yeah.
I haven't collected myself since 2007, and I busted open some Chrome and Undisputed, and I'm like, these are nice. These are really nice looking. I mean, but people are waiting for that product. And they're like, I'm just not going to buy any more top stuff and just save my money for buying multiple things of AEW right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, if the action figure sales of AEW are any indication,
God,
I don't know if you've kept tabs on that, but
a little bit.
The Cody Rhodes Chase figure is creeping up to $1,000.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And Jericho, and just the Brandy Rhodes herself, it's just a regular figure. She's selling for $120 just for her.
It's incredible. And do you think this market's going to stay like that even after things kind of get back to something being normal? Stimulus checks don't come in anymore. People going back. I mean,
it may be an unpopular opinion, but no, I don't think it's going to stay this way. As you know, having been a collector and been in this industry for a long time, there's always trends. There's always things that cycle back. Things go up, things go down. It's just a part of how this industry has been for decades. So I don't think it's going to last. It's been an interesting time witnessing it and seeing all the stuff that's happened, but it's going to come back down to earth.
And how far back down there do you think it's going to come back down to its pre-COVID era?
No, I mean, it's not going to go. It's not going to just completely fall off the cliff. But
I don't see those 82 All-Stars going down in value at all ever.
Not that stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of just regular stuff that has sold for, prices you're just looking at and thinking, why is this selling for so much money? Like,
and the guys are getting like these junk guys, these common cards, slabbing them and then asking astronomical prices for these common cards. I don't collect other sports. I don't collect anything. I've done a lot of non-sport stuff. I always treated my non-sport buying like stocks. I bought and sold based on what was popular. Xena's hot, sell the Xena stuff. Buffy was hot, sold it all, boom. And now it's, it doesn't sell for anything now, really. But wrestling is going up, and The Rock, that's always going to be going up in value, I think. Hogan's always going to go up in value. Flair's always going to go up in value. But I think the market as a whole, I kind of agree with you. I think the market as a whole is going to come down to some normal level. But those guys are always going to be high priced.
You're always going to have it's just like all the sports. Mike Trout's going to sell. LeBron James is going to sell. Ric Flair is going to sell. But all the other people who, are just bit players, semi-stars, unlisted stars, the things that we deal with, they're going to come back down to earth, and it's going to be we're going to be able to relax a little bit more, I think, because it's been chaos.
Do you think do you think common collectors have been priced out?
To some degree, yes, because I know how frustrating that is to be. I remember this back in when I was a big collector of Wayne Gretzky cards. I remember when the one of one came out, I was just like, why would they do this to us? Why would they make a card that we're never going to be able to get? Right? I mean, we love collecting Gretzky or Michael Jordan or whoever, and they're basically making cards where we're not going to be able to get them. Now it's some of these cards are attainable, but they're selling for so much money that it would cost a normal guy a paycheck, to
Yeah.
get it. So, you just like the hobby adapts as a collector, you have to adapt and you have to figure out, hey, is it worth getting this? My biggest thing right now is I'm not sure if you're familiar with Panini Gala,
Mm-hmm.
the football in the back.
I've heard a little bit about it. Yeah.
They have rookie cards that are serial numbered to 8.
8.
And the first year they did that was 2016. Guess who had about 12 guys that got drafted that year? Ohio State, Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott. There was a lot of guys that got drafted, and I've been able to get a few of them. I actually got 2 of the Braxton Miller, so I've got 25% of Braxton Miller's print run. Let's see if I can go for 100 now.
Yeah.
But it's I've been keeping tabs on those, and if I can pick one up for what I feel is a reasonable price, I'll do it. I actually had a high bid on a Michael Thomas for a little over $200, and that thing now is going for like $1,800, $2,000.
Jesus.
I got outbid at the last minute, but yeah, if I can pick one of those up, I will. But yeah, I mean, to your point, yes, collectors are getting they're getting outpriced, to the point where they can't get a certain card that they want or a certain set they want. So, but you just adapt.
I mean, it's nice that they used to put out, like Topps used to put out like a real low level release that was very affordable, then a mid level, and then Undisputed was their high level.
Yeah.
But now they put out so much stuff. It's one, repetitive things. But now it's just so many products. It's hard to keep up for any collector.
Yes, it is, and that's also the one thing as a market analyst at Beckett is that makes me nervous is like, what are they going to come up with next? Are they going to do archives? Because when Star Wars did the archive stuff, the buybacks, and then they had all the talent sign it, I was like, oh, please don't do this with wrestling, please.
Or what they call it, the living set.
The living set start. Well, I mean, I'm kind of shocked that hasn't happened with WWE. The only thing I could see preventing it is WWE not proving it, but. The Star Wars living set's really popular. The Child is the #1 seller. It was the highest print run at nearly 10,000, and it's the highest priced card, which doesn't happen.
Wow.
The highest price card is usually the one with the lowest print run, but it's the highest print run and the highest price because everybody loves Baby Yoda, man. Everybody wants Baby Yoda. So
it's such a crazy, whacked world right now. I don't understand this. I just don't understand what's going on, man. Up is down, down is up.
I don't understand it either, but I'm having fun watching it. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, I was always on Facebook, and I finally got the Twitter account going in August. Like I'm on Twitter watching where all these guys and like just watch the stuff. And I'm going, this is crazy. This is like lunatic stuff going on here, man.
Yeah, it is.
I'm so glad I don't collect like I did. I mean, I dabble a little bit here and there. I do some box breaks for the YouTube channel thing once in a while. I pick up a local guy stuff here. He makes these cool cards, from his versions, art versions of old stars, all-star set. He just got made these oversized cards. Came in. I got today.
But, nice. Daniel.
Yeah, nice. He does a whole bunch of stuff, like in that stuff. He does sports and non-sports, but he's an artist and does stuff here in Arizona. And he puts out incredible work. And so I like it. I support it, and I like it. It's just not official stuff, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, the oddball stuff has always been around, and that was stuff that I liked picking up once in a while too when I'd go to shows back in the day, and you'd see a Gretzky or you'd see an Eddie George or an Archie Griffin or something that was, somebody printed it, looked like somebody printed it in their garage, but back then, but you're like, hey, this is just kind of an interesting little picture. And,
it says Fuji on the back or Kodak or something.
But that was I think that adds to the collecting, that acts the marketability of things as well. Bootlegs are always going to be popular, whether it's bands that you're bootlegging the tapes like we did back in the 80s or whatever. There's always, if there's a market for it, you're going to find bootlegs. And I mean, look at the Star Wars bootlegs figures that they made over in Turkey. Those things go for thousands of dollars. People still love them because they're so horribly made that they've amassed a cult following. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's marketability everywhere, you know.
Well, yeah, it's a crazy world, man. It's like that. But I'm looking forward to 2020, 2021 edition. These are both great reads. People should get these. I think they're very well done. I love the top 10, top 20 there, which is subjective. I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I think Hogan's at the top of the list, and I think the reason why he's at the top of the list is because, you know, he was at the center of the two biggest movements in the history of professional wrestling. Hulkamania.
He's the Babe Ruth of wrestling. There's no denying that. It's like,
But
whatever your opinions are of him.
But he just came out and said Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler ever. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe it'll be
but then Ric Flair says Shawn Michaels is.
Well, that, you know, everybody has, even the wrestlers have their own picks, right? So
yeah, that's been like the going thing for a few years now. It's like, what's your Mount Rushmore? You know, it's hard to pick.
Yep,
yeah. So, well, Matt, I thank you for your time. I know. Where are you at actually? Where are you at? I'm in Arizona.
I am in Plano, Texas.
Texas. Okay, so you're only an hour ahead of me.
Yeah.
So, but I thank you for your time, man. I've been actually really looking forward to having you on.
I've been looking forward to coming on.
Looking forward to the new one, and I hope everybody gets it, especially if you're a wrestling card collector. But that's all I got for you, man.
Awesome. I had fun. It was good to talk about wrestling for a change. So, you know, but I look forward to seeing the new stuff on wrestling trading cards too.
Yeah, but our fundraiser is going. We're still got a few cards left of the autograph versions. We have them numbered 25, 10, 5 of them, the 1 of 1. That 1 of 1 sold out in 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. Somebody was sitting there going refresh the whole time. It's like that, and he won. He won, but got a couple left, the number to 10, couple left, number to 25, and then plenty of the base cards like that. But those are going off to Kevin this week, and then we'll have Kevin doing live. He'll be signing those live for everybody right there, and then
Awesome.
get them all shipped out to everybody. I hope soon, and that money goes to funding the site because it's a money issue. You know, we all kind of tight right now with money, and if I can get the next few years paid off, that'd be great. And then we've got a great roster of collectors out there. Like, listen, I've been waiting for you guys to update because I got all the information for you right here. I mean, I've been keeping tabs on this. So,
definitely.
And then a new learning process because the original site it was all hard coded by me. I did it by hand, like just open Notepad and did bracket, HTML, bracket, body, bracket, and I just copied and paste from there. So now we're going to probably WordPressing it. Maybe I'm not sure yet, but we'll get it going.
Awesome.
So super happy about it. But all right, Matt. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. No problem.
All right. And we are out of here.